Hey tubers, welcome back for another adventure. Many of you know that generally speaking I like to only work on Hondas, but if the right deal comes up, especially if it's been kind of a dry patch where I really haven't been able to find much, I will work on other all-terrain vehicles. And what you're looking at is a Kawasaki Mojave. I bought this, God, it must be a couple of years ago now. I bought this and it was in the most mint of mint conditions. And the story on it was it just stopped running. So I brought it home and checked it out. It turns out that it jumped time. And that's kind of as far as I got with it. I think I might have loosened the valves to the point where they closed and did a leak back check on it and figured out that the valves are probably okay. But that's as far as this one got. So at this point, I'm kind of like watching eBay, looking to see if I can't get a deal and so forth. And I found this Mojave engine. And it came to me and it had this problem here. Right, the guy shipped it without the oil plug in it, and he also shipped it side down, and at some point it managed to get kicked in. Now I looked at that and I thought maybe I can, very carefully tap that out. Also, the threads are it's only damaged way on top, so to some extent that could almost be cut off. You guys could see there's quite a bit of thread in there. So now I have this engine also. When I popped the lid on it, if you guys remember all the way back, it was in correct time, but the timing chain was pretty loose, and it was a matter of I should really smash the timing chain into this engine before I do anything with it. But and this is kind of where it's at. I guess it was just before Christmas, 2 Christmases ago, and for last winter my garage was really not in good shape. So, I kind of parked it out here and covered it, and quite honestly didn't do much with it. I know I'm bad, but such is life. I also discovered at some point I must have picked up a Lakota motor. It must have been a good deal or something. But anyway, there we have the twin Mojaves. But given that I have a Mojave I'm working on, and I think there's another one, an older one, sitting in the wings, I'm always kind of looking for parts. So I was cruising Facebook, and it had been kind of a dry spell. I really hadn't been bringing much stuff in, nothing interesting, nothing fun to work on. And I saw a guy had a hoard of Mojave parts that he was getting rid of. And here's an engine. The story on this batch of parts was a friend of his picked up 2 Mojaves. And what he was after was getting one of them running. I guess they were both kind of marginal, but he wanted like all the best of one, put on one all-terrain vehicle, and that's what he wanted to use. So what I did is I bought the leftovers from him. This engine here, he had just put some money into the valves, and if you're familiar with these engines, they are known as they get older, they throw the timing chain and the valves get smashed up, the piston gets smashed up, and the engine's gone. Particularly the valves get damaged, and then you're kind of in a bad place because you can't always get parts. So anyway, so supposedly this thing has recently been honed. It recently got new rings. It recently had valves done. But it had some other problems. You can see it did throw the chain and the case got eaten up. And on this side, see the gunk here. So kind of what happened is all the bad parts got put into this engine. But once again, supposedly the head was redone and the valves were in good shape. So I got that, and I got this Hoard of Parts, right? Radiator with the fan. Yeah, there's the fan. Chain, air cleaner, complete. You could see the water bottle there, and this so forth. There's the water pump in there. So I got this Hoard of Parts, and supposedly all this stuff needs to go back into one all-terrain vehicle. So anyway, I figured I would just share the sad stories of the Mojaves and the Mojave spare parts, and I kind of wanted to do an inventory to see what I had and didn't have. I have a timing chain on order because I really do want to get the best of these 3 engines now and get it fixed and get it on there. I'd also like to get a second engine set up and running, because there are Mojave frames out there that come up, Mojave rollers, fairly reasonable, and if one has an engine ready to smash on there, it's a good deal. The Mojave itself, it's a nice four-wheeler. I'd kind of call it like a heavy blaster. It's not a 2-stroke, it's obviously a 4-stroke, but with that dual overhead cam, 250 cc's, if you got it breathing properly and so forth, it's a pretty fast all-terrain vehicle. It's heavy. It's definitely heavier than the blaster for sure, but it's not as heavy as a Lakota or one of these 4-tracks 250s. So it's kind of a heavy sport model is what I would call it. Anyway, I'm hoping to smash all this stuff and get one of them together. Once it's together, my son out in Pennsylvania, he expressed interest in having a Mojave. So what I'd like to do is actually put it together and get it out to him. So for one who needs parts, right, I bought a whole hoard of parts here in the motor. I think I gave him $100 for it, which was not cheap, but considering how hard it is to get a good top end for one of these things, something that's in good shape, something particularly that's been redone recently, it wasn't too bad. My problem was, once again, it had been a while since any parts went by, so I was kind of looking for something. I'm going to borrow. Oh, I'm hoping to borrow. I'd have to put pliers to that. That oil cap and see how bad a shape I'm in on the other one. Maybe it could be tapped out. Then I won't even have to do that side cover. To do the timing chain, I'm either going to have to do a break and loop, or I'm going to have to pop that cover off. Probably I'm going to attempt a break and loop on the other one. I'll bring you along for that when the timing chain comes in. And in the meantime, I want to thank everybody for dropping by to watch and comment and subscribe. Please remember, feet down, heads up, and get out and enjoy each and every day. Bye now.